Hello, everyone, and welcome to What's Stopping You from Writing a Book. And I know some of you may have even written a book. Some of you have started writing a book. Some of you have started with the idea of writing a book. And so if you're in any of those categories, hopefully today will inspire you to keep writing. And I'm really excited about what we're going to be doing today. And we're going to go through and really making sure that that book inside you actually gets written. That's really my goal for today. So, if you've got, really a desire to get that book written, hopefully by the end of today, that desire will be realized, and we'll go through where we're going to go from here as well. All right. So just to let you know who I am, so hopefully everyone's got that up on the screen. But the intent for this class, by the way, is, do you want to write a book? That's actually a really good place to start. Do you want to write a book? And then we're going to look at why write it. I want to the key today is we're going to actually experience clearing blocks to writing. What's the key blocks that are stopping you from writing? And I want to expand your vision for the book. So writing a book is not just about having it written. Writing a book is about what do you actually do with it once it is written. And so there's more to it than just having it written as like that. Who am I? I'm actually the author of a whole range of books. And one of the reasons I'm doing this today is we've just released a book with a group of people called Soulful Leadership, which is an amazing book looking at all these amazing leaders around the world. And I have a chapter in that book. It's a #1 bestseller Amazon book, so it's done really well. I also have my own book coming out called One Vision coming out next month. So it's going to be pretty exciting as well. This is the proof copy, so I'm looking at that. I've also done, and just to show you, it doesn't have to be major, in 1999, I did a book called The Scan Charts. And this book has sold over 5,000 copies. And it's just an A4 manual with lots of, charts and things for kinesiology to test it on. So there's lots there. I'm also known as the Blockbuster because we're going to clear some blocks for this today. And I've created a board game. I've made a movie, done a whole range of things, and I'm the principal of Vision School. So I'm kept fairly busy, as you can imagine. All right. So I want to start with this question is, why do you want to write a book? All right. Really great question to start with. So I just wanted to maybe if you could just show your hands, I've just got you up on the screen. Is anyone really clear about why they want to write a book? Like, what is it within them that wants to write a book? Let's have a chat about that. Michelle, let's go across to you, and you've just unmute yourself, if you wouldn't mind. Hi, Michelle.
Barry.
How are you?
Fine, thanks, and you. Nice to meet you. I have I've done automatic writing for the last about 6 years, and I've got a whole bunch of journals, and it's changed my life because of all the information that I've received, and I want to share that with others because it's raised my vibration, and I just want to help other people raise their vibration because these messages, I keep going back to them and they just keep raising my vibration. So
awesome. And look, that's actually exactly what I'm on about is, raising frequency and vibration. And I actually have a look at there's a distinction between the two. So I love what you're doing. And I love the fact that you've already written it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I'm an artist, so the thing is putting the artworks behind so it's a visual book too because of the art behind it. So it's a bit more complicated than just now that it's written. So, but I've got 90 pages of visual quotes, so I'm ready. I'm ready to do it.
Well, I want to acknowledge you for getting that far. Like you like to actually put pen to paper and getting that much done. So I want to acknowledge you for that, #1.
Thanks.
And #2, some of the blocks we have today about what's going to be like if people are out there reading it, looking at it, critiquing it even.
Sorry, I'm like quite like, it's like I'm fine with it.
Okay. Okay, it'll be interesting when we get to it.
Well, we'll see what the nitty-gritty comes out, eh?
Yep. So it's going to be interesting as well. Anyone else like to talk about why they want to write a book? Robert. And then Jason. Then we're going to move on.
Yeah. So just the message that I have, and it is called The Myths and Mystery of Men and Women Awakened from the Illusion and Confusion. There is so many myths about how it is to be a man and how it is to be a woman on this planet. Yep. And I want to debunk those myths because they're old-fashioned and they're ancient.
Okay. So I can hear the real passion in you have for this, and obviously it's going to be quite a big book just to fit the title on, I think, so it's, there's a lot there in there.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to acknowledge the passion. It's one thing having the passion, it's another thing getting it actually done, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, especially something like that, because I would imagine doing that as you write it, the knowledge increases, the options increases, and it could be a case of a never-ending book.
Yes.
All right. And so at some point, we have to put a full stop. In accounting, we used to talk about balance sheets. And a balance sheet is, this is the situation as of now.
Yeah.
And that's the best that we can do is, as of now, this is where I'm at. And there might be another book down the track that says, well, look, I've learned so much more and I've got to update this.
Yeah.
So my suggestion straight away is to put a line on where the information needs to stop. And there's always going to be more information.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Jason.
One of the reasons why I want to write a book is to just give another outlet to help transform people.
Yep.
To, have part of my journey in there and maybe some of the tools and things that I've learned, but then also just to give people another tool to transform themselves. And then, like you mentioned before, it allows me to become an author and expert and also bring in some additional income.
Yeah, yeah. All those things are really good reasons. And I love the way that, there's a message out to the world, something within your heart that you want to get out to the world. And that's what I focus on. The getting it out there and the extra income, that will happen. And it won't happen necessarily actually because of the book. All right. So this book that I told you about, the scan charts, I've sold over 5,000 copies of that book. And it's done really well. But where I've really made some income and really made a name is that this helped me get right around Australia initially to be known as the person who works with scan charts and clears blocks. And so people were ringing me up around Australia and saying, can you come, seen your book, can you come and run a workshop? Can you come and give a talk? And those are the sorts of things that can't happen if there's not something out there to start with. All right. Let's keep going. All right. So what's stopping you from writing? It's a really interesting question. And there's a whole lot of things, there is the, people get to see me. Oh my goodness. People actually get to see what's going on within me. What's my heart expressing? Who am I to write a book? Like I never actually saw myself as an author. I was in a situation where in year 12, I actually had to get extra tutoring in order to pass year 12 English. And here I am, if my English teacher could see me now with 7 ebooks out there and 3 novels and all sorts of things going on. And they'd be saying like, but Barry, you just couldn't do English, like that was what I was told so often. And I don't think it's necessarily about being the best articulate speaker, but I think it is about speaking from your heart and whatever you're talking about. And I think that's really important there. All right. Has anyone else got anything else they'd like to add in terms of what's stopping you from writing? It's really an interesting one. Anyone want to share? Ariana?
Yes, my intention is not only to provide a tool and a process for people to follow to meet their undiscovered self, but it's also to push back against the standard way of doing things in a variety of different large areas, sort of a philosophical pushback. So I'm on the one hand wanting to help people, and on another hand, I'm wanting to make a lot of people wrong, essentially. Not wrong, bad wrong, but wrong as in there's a broader way to look at this than you're thinking about.
Yeah.
And so then that makes me feel vulnerable to attack or nervousness, not from the users of the process, but from the people who say, wait a minute, you can't possibly be right.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's the worst case scenario if this book is out there? What would you say is the worst case scenario?
That nobody would change. It would just be business as usual.
Okay. And what's the best case scenario?
That thought leaders would go, oh, wow, I had never thought about it from that perspective. Let me expand my area of expertise.
Okay. So the best case scenario is quite phenomenal, isn't it? All right.
Yeah.
The worst case scenario is just no different.
Right.
So the worst case scenario is no different than not writing at all, because the worst case scenario, I believe, is you not writing the book.
Right.
That's actually the worst case scenario, because at least it's got a chance of being out there and making a difference in the world.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the idea is it may not get out there, therefore I'm not going to write it. To me, is almost like hiding behind something.
Right.
So I just wanted to give you that idea as well. So what we're going to do today for everyone is we've recognized that all these things are stopping us. And I want to look at 3 key areas that stop us from having a book out there. All right. And what I'm going to do is actually identify 3 blocks. And for those that don't know me, we're actually going to use some kinesiology techniques that I've created in order to actually physically clear those blocks today. So that's pretty exciting that we're actually going to get to do that. All right. And so I'm going to come up with a couple of statements, and I'm going to muscle test to see whether they're a stress for a group, and then we're going to actually get to clear those as well. All right. And the first statement I've got for people is, I see my book being written. I see my book being written. And I just want to know, can anyone sort of sitting there at the moment thinking, I've got this great idea for a book, but I never actually see it being done. It's going to sit there as a dream. And Claudia, we're going to come to you for this one.
I was thinking that I have never seen my book being written, and so it's like a book like I what, so thanks for picking me.
Well, I just tested to see who was the highest priority. You've come up. So can you just say for me, I see my book being written?
I see my book being written.
Okay, so there's a stress on that when I'm testing that. So what's the stress, do you think?
I have a really hard time thinking about what this book would be about. Multiple people have suggested that I write something and they find value in what I teach or what I share with them and that kind of stuff. And I'm like, I'm glad it helped you. But to me, it feels like, what would that, what is that? That's not a book. That's me living my life. That's me sharing my experiences, and if for the sake of helping someone maybe shift a belief or something, that's not a book.
Okay.
So
in what you think a book should be, anyway. Like
right.
I actually think it is a book personally, but anyway, the subconscious program is telling you it's not. Okay. I got 2 things to say about that to start with. The first is the least most effective way of writing a book is because someone's told you to write it. Like, I don't know anyone that's actually written a book because someone said, oh, someone told me I had to write this. There's just going to be no motivation. You might get past day 1 and that's about as far as you'll get.
I've had no motivation. I've appreciated that someone thought that I had something worth writing about,
Okay.
but no pen to paper at all.
Okay. So what about the concept? And you talked about this, about how you like to help people, and this is just who you are with your work. What about seeing some of this written down? And for you, I wouldn't even call it a book. As soon as you see a book, you've got this thought that has to be an encyclopedia somehow coming out, And what about if you just put together some notes to share your ideas of who you are and what you're about with others? Do you think that would help others?
I like the way that feels. That feels more, here's what I've learned along my journey.
That's it.
This is what happened to me, and I hope it helps you.
Perfect. And
Yeah.
how's that feel doing that way, rather than I've got to write this book and it's got to be the most academic book of all times? And
It feels like it doesn't have to be right.
No.
Whereas a book feels like it has to be with a capital B, and it has to be right, and it has to be correct and cross-checked among 50 timelines or something. I don't know.
Sure. So I'm going to suggest we use the word a personal book for you. I'm going to write a personal book. All right, we'll sneak the word book in there now. All right. And we're just going to
say
use
that again, you cut out. Say that again, you cut out.
Okay. I'd just like you to use the word personal book, just to sneak the word book in there.
I see my personal book being written.
How's that feel?
Gentler and also egocentric.
Okay. Egocentric can be okay because you're actually sharing yourself. So I just want you to recognize that all we've done for you at this point, we haven't actually cleared it. We've just changed the concept of what a book looks like. All right. We'll just go to one more person. Anyone else got any issues about actually writing, like seeing their book being written? Anyone else in that situation? Let's have a look. Let's go. Janelle, we're going to come to you, actually. Yeah, please don't go to me. I can just feel that energy. Look at that.
You heard. Well done.
Okay. So what are you hiding there for?
I'm not hiding. I'm hide my writing. I've always written since I was a tiny little kid. I have hundreds of journals. I'm sure there's 507 books in there. I've just never shown anybody. But the only time I ever show anybody any writing that I've ever done is, I get the family gift of doing the eulogies at everybody's funeral. Great. But I don't get, I've only just sort of probably in the last maybe very short time started to even let people know that I automatically write and I write poetry, and it never changes. It's often prophetic. But I didn't even admit that to myself and I'm still quite nervous about it. You can hear that in my voice. Even sort of saying that to myself sounds arrogant. It sounds, I don't know. Yeah, a lot of emotion behind it.
Okay. So how would it feel if other people actually got to see what you had written? What happens if you died tomorrow and all your journals were sitting there being read by your entire family? How would that feel?
Okay, because I'd be dead.
Okay. What happens if...
The second before you said that, I just was having like a major panic attack. Yeah. The minute I went into that space of not being here on the planet, I was okay. Being here on the planet with having everybody acknowledge that, massive anxiety.
Okay. And we're going to get to that one as well. But I think the first thing is to say, I've got all this journaling that I've done. What about if you put that together somehow into a series of thoughts that might actually support others as well? Would that be correct?
Yeah, it's interesting because I never never really thought about using what I've done. I've sort of been focusing on, oh, it's not there yet, but perhaps it already is. Perhaps it is.
Perhaps it is. Perhaps you might need to modify it slightly and things like that. But it seems to me you've got all this writing. Utilize what you already have.
Okay. Thank you.
Right. Okay, while you're here, I'm just going to clear this for everyone. So this is actually getting cleared, not just for the two people I'm talking to, but it's getting cleared for everyone who's live here today with me, plus anyone who's watching the replay, because this work actually goes beyond time and space. So Janelle, I'll get you to say, I see my book being written.
I see my book being written.
Okay, how's that feel now?
Much better. I could feel that as I was shifting, and also I see my personal book being written, because my writing is very personal, but it's not either. It's both. It's personal to me, but it's also very universal.
Yeah, well done on that. That's really good.
Thank you.
All right, and can we come back to who was there first of all?
I was right before her.
Yep. Can you just say that statement again, please? I see my book being written.
I see my book being written.
How's that feel?
More grounded, more safe, more possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the first step we've got to have is actually about writing the book. All right. The second step we need to look at is the idea of, well, now that this book's written, what's it going to be like being published? So the second statement I've got for you is, I see my book being published. Oh my goodness, it's going to be, someone's actually going to publish this thing, whether I self-publish it, whether I use a publisher, but I actually see my book actually being published, not just, I've got a whole pile of notes here and here it is, but to have it physically published. So is anyone in a situation where maybe you've done some writing, but the idea of getting it published, and this book that I've got coming out next month, by the way, I've got a drawer full of rejection. I felt like a real author when I had a drawer full of rejection letters from publishing companies, saying we really liked it, but it doesn't fit into our thing. And I actually felt like the rejection letters were really, I didn't get caught on it, because I thought, well, gee, that's like real authors now. They get rejection letters all the time. And now it's actually physically getting published. It's really quite exciting. Okay. Who's in a situation they'd really love to have their book published, but it just seems like such a big jump? Kai, I'm going to come to you if possible, if you can unmute, if you wouldn't mind. You may not be there. If you could just unmute, Kai, if you want to just come on and talk to us. Okay, we'll give her a break then. We're going to try someone else. Anyone else? Oh, Kai, you there? Okay, anyone else in a situation where they feel like they want to actually get their book published? Okay. Ariana, let's go to you, and then I want to go back to you as well, Robert. This is actually getting it published is the next step from writing it, because I think you've already started writing it. So Ariana, can you read, the statement is, I see my book being published. Can you say that for me, please?
I see my book being published.
Okay, yep, that's coming up as a stress. What do you think is stopping you from that?
So I think if my book were published by any publisher, it could go out and it could help the people that need it to help. Mm-hmm. But for it to change thought leaders, expand thought leaders' perspectives, the publisher is key. It has to be a top of the line, thought leader, publisher that publishes other thought leading books. Mm-hmm. So that the weight of the publisher is saying, look, this is a book you need to pay attention to. And so for me, I feel like if it's not published by that level of publisher, it's not going to be the same book, even though the content's the same.
Okay. I'm going to challenge on that just a little bit, and I'm okay for you to hold that thought. But what I'm seeing is actually a little bit limiting, because you're almost going, I want this book published, and it has to be published with this person who's done these other thought books.
Right. Yeah.
And what was happening, one of the things that happened with Neil Donald Walsh with Conversations with God, right?
Mhm.
Publishers initially didn't want to publish that book.
Right.
And he eventually had quite a small publishing company initially publish that book, right?
Mhm.
And it sold 7 million copies.
Okay.
Now, this publishing company all of a sudden became a leading New Thought publishing company.
Right. I see. So it drove the book drove the company, not the company, the book.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I get it.
So I just want you to be open to being published in the best possible way that it needs to get out there, and whatever that is.
Right. Okay. All right.
Awesome. All right. Robert, let's come across to you then.
Okay. Yep.
So can you say, I see my book being published?
I see my book being published.
Okay, so that's coming up as a stress. So what do you think is stopping you from going from writing the book to publishing a book? Because that's sort of where you're at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah. It's very similar to Anna. That it's like I have this. If it goes published, I want the right publisher, and it's still there. It's like I want one that knows this revolutionary change that I am speaking in the book.
Sure.
I want them to know that. I want to see that they have done others like they're going to do mine,
Okay.
which is very similar.
Okay. And I'm going to suggest to you that that's probably not going to happen.
Yep.
All right? Because there's not going to be too many books like yours.
Yep.
So as soon as you do that, you've really narrowed the publishers. And even if there was a book that was similar to yours, I could see the publisher go, oh, we already have a book like this.
Yeah.
So again, I just want you to open up to the possibility that what you're after is the best publisher possible to get your book out there.
Yeah.
All right. And we're going to almost let the universe take charge of it after that.
Yeah, cool. Yep, I get that.
Okay. How does that feel now compared to I've got to find the publisher, you know?
Yeah. It's before it was me trying to control all of this, but there's something bigger about all of this than just me.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
All right. Well done. Let's clear this thing for everyone. So again, we're clearing it for everyone listening, both live and live. And we're just using Robert and Ariana as an example for all of us, if you like, to bring up some of the stuff. So Robert, I could just say again, I see my book being published.
I see my book being published.
Okay, so when I'm testing that now, that's actually coming up really strong. How's that feel?
Yeah. There was a sense of just letting go and being with that when I said it.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Well done.
Cool.
Ariana, can I get you to say the same thing, please?
I see my book being published.
Okay, how's that feel now?
That feels like it will get into the right hands regardless of who publishes it.
Awesome. Exactly right. All right. Now, we're going to go to the third one. We're really jumping up. So there are three components, I believe, in terms of authorship. One is about writing a book. One's about publishing a book. And the third one is marketing a book, getting the book out there. All right. I'm going to come back to you, Michelle, because I know you're really confident about getting this out there. And this is, I thought I'm going to get you on this one, I think, because you've tested up anyway. So the statement I've got for you is, I see my book making money.
Spot on, eh? Yeah, because I'm completely unattached to it. I was like, well, I don't care if anybody sees it or whoever publishes it. But the blocks for me are like, I've actually released the thing that it's going to make money because I've got patterns like that. So I'm kind of like, oh, well, I'm busy working on trying to just release that and go, well, I don't care if it doesn't get money. It's just going to get out there. Again, like all my other stuff, it's just out there, but nobody actually knows about it.
Okay.
And I've done my best. I've tried my best. I've turned my life inside out to try and get it noticed, and nobody's noticing anyway. So, well, I'm now just going to send it out there anyway.
Yeah, I actually think you're the block to this, by the way, energetically.
No, I know that.
So I just want you to have a go at saying this statement. And the statement is, I see my book making money.
I see my book making money.
Okay, I'll say it again. I see my book making money.
I see my book making money.
Okay, so I always know when people can't even get a 6-word statement.
Absolutely.
Like, no, I can't say this. All right. So there are a number of key ways a book makes money, and I've already mentioned some of them. Like one of them is through direct selling of a book, right? And you know, I think these days a book is almost like a virtual business card. You know, it says,
yeah,
I know
I've
something.
got that message too.
Yeah. Okay. The second way, and particularly for you, is once people have seen the book, they're going to want to know more about you, more about what you offer, more about your workshops. I see you as a speaker, all of the above, right? And that's going to be the key to it, right?
Yeah, my guides have told me that everything.
Awesome. And the third one for you, which I think you've been avoiding a little bit, is your online presence as well.
Yeah, it's taken me a while.
Yeah. So it'd be really important for you to have a look at that online presence that you have there as well. And with all of that is making it okay. Like there is an aspect I really get that you're wanting to make a difference in the world, right? If we don't make money doing it, then we're not going to make it sustainable. So I want this to be sustainable, not only for this book, but for the other books that come afterwards and for your right livelihood so that you're here doing this work in 10, 20, 30 years' time. So there's, you know, this idea of, oh, well, if it doesn't make money, I don't care. Well, actually, I want you to care. I want you to say, actually, I want this to make money.
Yes.
You know, it's not my primary thing. My primary reason is to make a difference. And then my second one is I want this to make some money for me as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. All right, we'll come back to you in a second. We'll just see, does anyone else think they've got a stress around seeing their book making money? Anyone else prepared to sort of step up on that one? That's a really interesting one, isn't it? All right. And in actual fact, Anne-Marie, we're going to come to you.
Hi, Barry.
How are you? Where are you with your book?
Well, I wrote the one book, and then I have all the kind of non-status or the partial status and no finishing.
Okay.
But I did write a children's book about 4 days ago.
Awesome.
Needs a lot of illustrations. Haven't got an illustrator, but it's a cool book.
All right. So can you say for me, I see my book making money?
I see my book making money.
Okay, we're going to add up the ante for you. Can you say, I see my books making money?
I see my books making money.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so there's a bit of a stress on that. So this is about recognizing, again, about being public, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what's stopping you from allowing these books to make money?
I think for a large extent, it was when it was out there, it was kind of like, oh, well, that's done now. I'll let it take care of itself. And it was just not a priority for me, I suppose, the making money part.
Yeah.
The priority was, in the first book, was the healing journey that I discovered by writing the book. Yeah. And if I could share that with anyone else and anyone could get something out of it, well and good. So the second part was getting the message out there that if I could do it, then other people could do it too.
Sure.
And the third part, making money, was kind of just not on the horizon.
Okay. So I want you to associate the making money with it getting out there. Like, I want you to put the two together. Like, if you give it to your family and friends, say, have a look at this, that's fine. But if you can imagine, if you made $1 million out of this book, it means that maybe 50,000 people have been touched by it. Yeah, and people are referring it, and it's creating almost a movement in itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so the money is actually a reflection of how well it's doing, of how well it's getting out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. And it also gives, I think, a little bit of personal satisfaction for you as well to say, well, actually, I've done something that people do perceive of being of real value.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just clear this. Oh, there's some big ones there. Can you say, I see my book making money?
I see my books making money.
Okay, awesome. You're in going back to books. All right, well done. All right. Michelle, let's go back to you as well.
I see my book making money.
Okay, how's that feel now?
Much better. Much
Yeah.
better.
Yeah. So what we're doing there, Michelle, we're just clearing it energetically in your etheric body. That's what we're doing here.
Yeah, I felt it. I felt it go through my energy centers.
Awesome. Yeah. It's pretty exciting. So let's just have a look at where we're up to here. And I want to share the screen again. I want to talk about where we go from here. Okay. Okay. So what we've done today is we've literally just cleared 3 blocks around, you know, one around writing a book, one around publishing a book, and one around actually marketing a book. And what we're going to be doing starting literally in 2 weeks' time is going over a program that I did last year called Clear Blocks to Authorship. And the Clear Blocks to Authorship identifies and clears 30 blocks. So you imagine we've done 3. Imagine if we actually do 30 blocks over 3 one-hour classes. And the 3 one-hour classes are obviously one's on writing a book. So there's 10 statements there on writing a book, 10 statements on publishing a book, and 10 statements on marketing a book. And so what we're going to be doing here is the offer is that you actually get each of these modules, and they're pre-recorded. They work beyond time and space, and they'll be available as video, audio that you can do it. All right. The key thing we haven't mentioned here, if you want to stand out, you actually need to show your expertise. And the best way to become an expert still in today's society is through writing a book, is the easiest way. All right. What I'm going to do for people who are interested, if people want to get the whole program, there's $100 off the program in the next 48 hours because we're going to be starting this in 2 weeks. And I will actually hold that off for those who are live or listening before the integration classes. I will hold that off until we start the integration classes. And what I mean by that is in 2 weeks' time, there'll be live classes, but those after that, it'll be recorded. But it'll be a live Q&A each week where we actually go over any issues that are coming up while you're doing the program. So you get to listen to the 10 blocks, you get to clear them, and then we're going to come on live every week and actually start making sure that there's any other sabotages or anything else going on to really get you out there and doing that. All right. All my work comes 7 days satisfaction. You can do the first week. If you feel like nothing's happening, then you can get your money back. In all the time we've done it, we only have one person ever asked for their money back, and that person wanted their money back from day one. In other words, they actually didn't even give it a chance. But my suggestion for you, if you notice a difference in the energy in you, you'll want to clear this energy, and you can go back over it, do it again and again. I got this literally yesterday from a friend of mine in Tasmania, David Webby. And David did the course initially, and he said, I found Barry's course on Clear Blocks to Authorship extremely beneficial. I was able to clear blocks on areas I didn't even realize were a factor. And that's going to be a key thing here. It helped me immensely with overcoming blocks associated with approaching publishers and allowed me to flow better with my writing. And I've just received a contract with a publisher. I am very excited. In actual fact, today he signs the contract. So, very excited fellow as well. All right. So what we've got here is the offer I want to give everyone here is there in the visionschool.org, which is where I have all my Clear Blocks program, you can go to the visionschool.org/authorship. If you just go to the visionschool.org, you'll find it in the courses. That's a $297 course. We're going to be doing 3 live integration classes, which actually have the same value because we were working one-on-one with you. I'm going to give everyone who signs up my book called Create Miracles in Your Life. And this is like a little 30-day book that I wrote. And I actually did it for myself a number of years ago, where I wanted to create a change in my life. And I did the book, went through and created this 30-day program and then turned it into a book. But I still use that program even today. And it still creates miracles in my life. All right. And so the whole lot you'll get with $100 off, you'll get it the whole lot for $197. So I guess how much is your book worth? You know, what's it worth to get this book out there? All right. So I'm just going to let you consider that. I'm going to open it up to any Q&A. And I just want to say, for those people who have already purchased it, I know there's a number of people on the call and some people listening who have already purchased the Clear Blocks to Authorship, then you'll just get to do the integration classes for free. There'll be a bonus for you. A lot of my courses, what will happen is there might be something that'll happen later on, and I actually like just to add them as a value add. You know, we might do an integration class later, or we might do the financial freedom one. I got people on 12 months later to see how they're going. And we may even do that with this one. We might do a class to see how people are going in 12 months and things like that. All right. So what I like to do, please, is really open it up, mainly open it up to anyone that wants to discuss any issues that they've got about writing a book, or it might be anything you want to know about the program, but I just want to open up to any Q&A, and let's clear some more things around what might be stopping you from getting this book out there, because I think it's really important. So if you want to just maybe raise your hand, or okay, Yoga, please. I don't know who Yoga is. It's just
Hi, I'm Valerie.
Hi,
You're right,
Valerie.
I'm on the wrong thing. Hi. Does this have anything to do with clearing blocks on the content of the book? Is there any, is it Q&A around the content at all?
Let's have a look at that now for you, if you like. So what do you think the block around the content is?
I think that the 2 blocks are, one is organizing the content. Yep. Like, you know, what comes first, what comes last, what's the point, you know, just refining it. And then the other is having written books before and then putting it out there and wanting that refinement, the reflection. It was just kind of edited and published. And so putting it out there where it's like, well, it's not really what I wanted to put out there, and I didn't organize quite what I was focusing on. So it's not the quality that I had planned on.
Okay. So I want to do 2 things with you. The first one, in terms of the content and processes, a Clear Blocks to Writing class will cover all of that over an hour. So there's too much to cover in that, right? Mm-hmm. I do want to give you a statement, though, for now. And the statement really relates to the second part about having ownership, really, to this. All right? Mm-hmm. And the statement for you, for the moment, is I just want you to say, I am an author. No, actually, it's not what you want. Is I am the author is what's coming up.
Oh, okay. I am the author.
Yeah. So I am the author. What does that say to you?
I am the author means I take ownership of the whole process. What I wrote, how I edited, and how it was put out there when I said print.
Sure. So this is sort of saying, stepping forward, we can't change what's happened in the past for you, but this is about you giving away your power.
Okay.
All right. And it's like, oh no, I've got to get it published. I've got to get it published. And it's like that sense of I've got to get it published, where it's actually diluted what you've got out there.
Right.
So what I'm suggesting to you is to really own your own power and say, look, I am the author and I'm going to get this, you know, I get to make the final decision.
Okay. I am the author.
Okay. Let's just clear that there for you because it's still a stress. So I just want you to feel this and see if you can notice the difference. Okay. That's all. Okay. Okay, I will just let you know, this is not just about being an author. This is other people trying to control you your whole life, by the way.
Aha.
All right. So this is just an example of you stepping up into your own power.
Awesome.
Can you say for me again, please? I am the author.
I am the author.
Okay. How does that feel?
It feels necessary, true, and then I could feel sort of some, different energy coming off in different spots. Like
it's quite amazing. I remember
side.
doing this once, and a lady in California, and I rang her up because she didn't turn up for a one-on-one session, and I said, where are you? And she said, I've broken down, and it's going to take an hour for the tow truck to come. And I said, well, why don't we do it now while you're waiting? And I did a correction with her on her elbow, and just as I got to her elbow, she said, my elbow's twitching. And so people are picking up this energy across the planet. People are picking up this energy, even listening to the replay in the future. It's quite remarkable.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay, well done. That's a great awareness there. So really good. I love to see how you go. Maybe send me a note and let me know how you're going with holding that content for yourself.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else? I've only got people across the screen, so you may need to jump on if you're waving and I can't see you. Okay, Michelle.
Yeah, that was interesting. That what you did just now with the lady. I want to do everything myself, so I haven't actually even thought about going to a publisher because I didn't want them to interfere with the channeled words. So I've just thought I'm going to self-publish. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that as well. The self-publishing or going.
Well, look, the both. I've done both. I've done self-publishing and I've done publishing through it. And like with the Scan Charts book, having self-published that, I've allowed other people printing rights, but I still get royalties and things like that. So there's even ways in between where you get someone else to print it, but it's sort of self-published. So I've done it that way. Look, my sense for you is it is actually somewhere in between. It's not a yes or a no.
I feel like I'm going to do it, and then maybe somebody might approach me or whatever. But I'm not.
No, I actually think what I'm sort of seeing is the word that keeps coming up for you is a partnership with someone. So rather than saying I'm handing this over to a publisher and they're printing it, that you're working with a publisher to get it out there together. And there's much more of a partnership involved, particularly in terms of keeping the writing as authentic as you can.
Yeah. It's very important for me because the words that I channeled are the way it was said. And I don't want to interfere with that vibration that I've written as it was written.
Yeah.
So it's not perfect. Sometimes it's not perfect English, but if you get into if you feel the vibration of the words, you'll feel the vibration coming through. So. Okay.
So I'll give you a statement to support you on this. And the statement is, I cooperate easily with others.
Okay. I'm just laughing, sorry.
No, that's fine. It always gives me a clue that we've got the right statement when people start laughing.
Exactly. You're going to have to repeat it again.
I'll have to come up with it again. I cooperate easily with others.
I cooperate easily with others.
Okay, yep. No, that's coming up as a stress. Okay. So.
Oh God, I laugh. This is so funny.
So let's actually clear this one, but you sort of get, this is actually, again, this is a bit like the last one. This is not just about the book.
No, that's why I'm laughing.
All right. This is so true in life, isn't it? When people go, oh yeah, it's just the book that I can't cooperate with anyone. All right. But it is, in this case, this will be about cooperating with a publisher, but it's also about cooperating with other people, other projects and things like that. All right. And I get so much with you that your work to get out there in the world is a team sport.
Yes, I've finally figured that one out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
there are people out there wanting to support you in this. All right. And so I want to clear this. It may be worth having a chat to me later about this as well, if you can as well. There's a couple of other things off air I'd like to do. All right. Okay, so let's just clear this one though. Okay. And most of this you've created yourself in your own mind, by the way. This is not like blame, other people did this to me. You've made up this story.
No.
Okay. Can you say, I cooperate easily with others?
I cooperate easily with others.
Okay, how's that feel now?
Better. I feel there's still work to be done.
Yeah. In the second integration class, we're actually bringing in a publisher to talk to you about publishing your book.
Oh, okay.
And so I think that'd be a really worthwhile one for you as well, because I think that could be I think this author would be a really good match for you, actually. She does high vibrational work as well. So
right.
Interesting. All right. Anyone else?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions before we finish up? We've got time for one more. Let's hear from someone maybe hasn't spoken. So, Rosalind, you've been up all night over in the UK there, so let's bring you on.
Hello.
How's that been for you today?
Yeah, very positive. Really makes me just want to go and put pen to paper. And I feel very strong about writing, and I feel strong about getting a book published too. Yeah. I think the bit for me will be about, it's not the receiving money, it's a bit when you said about having an online presence, I thought, because I just can't be bothered with social media. And
okay, so I'm not talking necessarily about social media. I'm talking it might be, for example, I've got some people developing programs for the online school, so it's just there and it's available for others. So having an online presence isn't just social media. There's a whole lot of options associated with being available online. It doesn't have to be social media.
Oh, well, that feels better.
All right.
But yeah, no, it feels, I can't wait, really. It's good.
And I just want to let people know, and I can feel your excitement, I want to get going, and that is actually the next step for people, is to start writing. So if you haven't written anything, to start. And the key thing I'm going to let you know, this is pretty exciting this for some of you, because it might get you going, is you do not have to start with chapter 1. Start with the easiest chapter. Now, chapter 1 in many ways is always the hardest chapter, because you're trying to set the scene, do everything else like that, introduce what you're doing and all of that, right? And, it doesn't always have to begin with it was a dark and stormy night. Like you can have different ways. But my feeling for you, Rosalind, is just to start writing. Start with what you know, write it down, and then decide which chapters it's going to go into. It's almost like you're going to write these in chunks. And then as you're writing, you'll start working out where it goes.
Yeah, that sounds good. I have in the past written some chunks of things. So
yeah,
I'll go back and look at that and pick it all up again. But I've got quite a lot of ideas. All the ideas have just suddenly started flowing in the last few days. So
yeah.
Good.
Awesome. Okay. So I just want to come back for a moment to the offer that we've got here. We're going to actually start this in 2 weeks for those people who are live. And so it starts in 2 weeks from now, wherever that is, about the 5th, about the 19th, 18th of February. So for those people who are live or listening before the 18th of February 2021, you can come onto the integration classes live. For those people after that, they'll be available on the Vision School. So we'll make sure that they're available for you. But we've got the Clear Blocks to Authorship, which has actually helped people like David and other people actually get their book out there. We're going to do 3 integration classes, a bit like what we've just done now. We're going to clear those individual blocks that are coming up as you're doing the program. So clear those first, turn up to the integration classes, make sure you get really clear on each of those. And then, as I said, I want to give you the Create Miracles in Your Life as well. So when you sign up, send me a note to say you've signed up, and I'll get you that copy of Clear Blocks to Clear Miracles in Your Life. And as I said, you get the whole lot at the moment for $197. There is a coupon code for that, by the way, which didn't appear on this. And the coupon that now for those is just award, AWARD. So if you just use award, you'll get the $100 off that as well. So that would be available for people as well. All right. I want to thank you very much for everyone who's been live. It's been great. It's great to see all the people who have written down about their books that they're writing, about what they're doing. I'm happy to hang around after the class for a few minutes and say hello to people. For everyone else, thank you for being part of this, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in Clear Blocks to Authorships. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thanks.